Astrologer Val Evans, and today I'm talking about crypto predictions. Ever dream of making it big, gaining massive wealth, or maybe just a little? We're going to look at the charts and cards today to make predictions on XRP. It's a cryptocurrency or a token, and it's used on the Ripple network to facilitate transfers of money between different currencies. There's a lot of speculation about it right now, whether the token can move because the SEC dropped the Ripple case, and I think that was yesterday. And people are saying it's the latest indication that the SEC is charting an entirely new course on crypto regulation. This is really big news for crypto. But what does it mean for the average investor? So I'm going to look at that. We're going to look at the solar return for XRP, and we're also going to make some comparisons with Bitcoin. So there's going to be some ups and downs, I think, between now and the next 12 months. So I'm going to show you what I see. All right, there's the XRP price. Wow, at 256. Look at where it started. I mean, that's just no, it started like way down in the pennies, and now it's way up to 256. It's been going back and forth between 225, I think. So it seems like it's on its way up. It's great news for the investor. President Donald Trump has a lot to do with this stock, so it's something to keep in mind. So we're going to keep our eye on him in these charts. We're going to look at this chart as if we would look at anybody else's solar return chart. So we're going to look at when the chart started, which was June 2nd. It was in 2012 that XRP started. A lot of news coming from this chart. Now, Black Moon Lilith is in that first house there. So we always keep an eye on that. Black Moon Lilith is the tempting, the dark force. One of the things that I look at in these charts are the ninth houses. The ninth house is the press. It's what's being written about at that time. And for this year, which started last June, and we're still coming into the rest of this chart here. And this happens to be right now. So you can see lots of people, everyone's talking like crazy. It's really going up right now. So this ninth house is being activated. Ninth house is the courts. So good news because you see a blue triangle there. Is it going to last is the question. Now, here is something good that looks like it could be very promising short term. And that is that we've got wonderful part of fortune there, and it is trining at Neptune. It is in a little triangle there with all of these people. These people are making a lot of money. It seems like they're going to, if they haven't already, they're just pouring money in. And this could be an international community as well because the ninth house. We have groups and groups and groups, keeping in mind that the sun is the president. So the president is in there, and it seems like he's talking to these people too. He's maybe he's even saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to tell you the time. Of course, you're not allowed to do this, but it's very possible there's a lot of secret talk there about when there's going to be announcements made and all of that." What is going to happen though is there's Saturn here. Saturn means to stop something, and it could potentially start coming in there. Now, what I'm going to show you is how this works. So we've got June 2nd. So that means that this is going to be May, then this is going to be April, and this is going to be March. So this is March 2nd. April, May, June. And so that's going to go to, so this is March and that's April. So Mercury is activating right now, and it looks for the most part pretty good. It looks like it's fast talk. Uranus, it goes way up. It's like a rocket. So you want to look at Uranus in these charts. Of course, it's right around the Medusa degree, which is kind of the Versace degree. It just means a lot of temptation. It can mean a lot of wealth. And I wonder what this twin clue is in here. Could be another ripple that's happening. Of course, ripple is represented by Neptune because that has to do with water. So we want to keep an eye on Neptune. So it's had a tough year coming around here. So much Aries. So we keep an eye on that too. Now this is going to be coming in this Aries group. Now, if this was your solar return chart, you'd be like, oh my God, who's upset? Because we've got a T square here, right there. These people are very upset. I think they're probably upset because of all the money that's being made. And it could also mean something that has to do with the war too, which an upcoming war, which it might affect the price somehow, whether it's inflation or it's a dollar or whatever it is, and that seems to be coming in there. So that would be it, and it already has really, but April. So this was January, February timeframe. But now we're getting into April, and this is going to activate, and it's going to activate these people again. So I would say if you were going to buy the dips, possible it might be a good time because there's something kind of being thrown in, and it looks like the price is going to drop a little bit. Now, what's really interesting is the time frame here. We've got May the 2nd is very interesting. It's right on Regulus, which means gold. It means fortune. And so that's starting to come in. But the problem is that the sun is still in this square here with Saturn. There's still something, it doesn't mean that it's not still continuing to increase the stock, or not the stock, the cryptocurrency, but it's just held back a little bit. So could be just kind of delays, could be slow, 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 slow. And then what we want to do is we want this part of the chart to activate, which is Virgo. And that's represented by Mercury. And so we're back into the Mercury Uranus phase again. So if I were to guess, and of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. Uh, you didn't hear it from me. But if I wanted to invest, I would take a look at these months really, really closely. See what the risks are. See when the stock is going to have trouble. That's going to be the dips. And that's what you want to pay attention to when you want to buy. All right. Hi, Deb. All right. So I like May 10th. May 10th looks like between May 10th and maybe June 2nd, when it starts the next solar return, that could be pretty lucrative. So, if I were to see something like this, I would be like, well, maybe this is the time when something you want to see some bad news for a little bit. Might have to do with gold because of Leo, something that has to do with the kingdom, or possibly, the Trump. Trump could also be Leo as well. And I look at him really more as Gemini, though, in these charts, because he's a Gemini. He's a sun in Gemini, and he's in there. He's making news too. Ninth house is PR, publications, the headlines. So we're going to be seeing him associated with crypto quite a bit. There he is. He's got so much luck. Look at the Jupiter, and it's right in there in the same house with Venus, which is lots and lots and lots of money. It might be a good time to get in. You might get a little bit of a nick here, a little bit of a dip, and then whoosh, back up. It would seem from looking at this chart, but of course, no guarantees. There's always a possibility that it might not happen that way. All right, now I'm going to look at the 2025 chart for XRP. And again, it starts every year for this cryptocurrency. It starts on June 2nd. So we're going to look at that month, and it's going to be ruled by Jupiter in Gemini. That's a good sign generally, but there is a problem. Look at how there's these squares there. So going forward, looking ahead, it looks like it is not going to have the best year that it could. There's still a lot of pushback. There's a lot of delay. There's a lot of frustration for sure. I also like to, as I said, look at the ninth house. So that's going to be the sun there. The ninth house ruled, um, It's basically Trump. Sun in Gemini, Sun is the president. It's almost like because of that Mercury there, with the squares, it looks like he's not allowed to talk. Now, the Saturn it could mean a lawyer, could mean somebody's telling him to stop talking, and he has to stop talking. And this cryptocurrency kind of needs him. So you can definitely see that he is kind of gagged for a few months. So we're going to look at the chart ruler, which is Jupiter, and that's the ruler of the ascendant. And Sagittarius can represent the fire sign, so that's a good thing. It means can rise, generally a positive sign, and yet when it is negatively aspected, it can show things kind of burn up. And there are going to be those times. There might even be some kind of headline that has to do with some type of Sagittarian thing. Sagittarius represents the courts, it represents marriage, it represents boats, ships, and railroads. And there could be like suddenly Amtrak is accepting, cryptocurrency. And so then we'll see like news about that type of railroad. Sounds kind of crazy, but you'd be surprised. Now, with the twin here, again, this is big twin energy. It's not just Sagittarius, this chart. It is a Gemini chart. Everybody's talking, but there's a lot of gossip about it because of the poor aspects with Gemini in this year for this chart. So, so it looks kind of negative in that respect. We're going to look at the second house of this chart. And by the way, I rectified this chart. You can rectify it the way you want. I think this works because of the ninth house for XRP. It was just, and the timing really makes sense. I think I rectified it at about 4 p.m. But I think the date was June. Well, I said in the earlier slide, June 2nd, 2012. So it's been around for a little while. Now we're going to look at the second house, which you would look for in your solar return, how your money's going to be. And generally with Capricorn, it's kind of like, it's not great. It's not great to have the second house in that year, especially when there are poor aspects, which there are. You could see not only Saturn is ruling the second house, but Neptune's in there too. It could have something to do with armed forces. It could have something, which I know sounds ridiculous, but again, you'd be surprised. But there are some good aspects to it. Saturn represents the government, and Neptune represents maybe a corrupt government. So there could be a corrupt government that is doing quite a bit. Pluto is a lot, Aquarius is crypto, quite a bit of business. And you could see that right there. So that out of the gate on June 2nd, 2025, seems like, and this is also Russia too. It's definitely government. Saturn and Neptune together. Saturn is government. Neptune is to sleep. So right now, and over the next probably 2 years, we're seeing that kind of like government is asleep. You see people kind of being called names like Sleepy Joe, the sleep factor. You're talking about things that are woke and awaken and that kind of thing. And so we're going to be seeing that for probably, I'd say, till at least 2026, maybe even 2027 here as Saturn, passes Neptune and moves along. But in this case, this is kind of like the snapshot of the year, which is the solar return year for XRP. Though it looks good for some people, there could be a lot of fake things. So you're going to see Neptune as the meme. Meme is me. So it's like the Neptunian narcissist type of word. So we look at that, and there's so many memes. It's ridiculous. I wonder if with Saturn there, could be government memes, historical memes using history of some sort, but that seems to be helping, I think, this cryptocurrency. So if I'm going to break this down, we've got this chart, June 2nd, 2025. I know, well, most people don't. And that's, I think that's a shame because the people who do understand it are making some really good money right now. And I have some friends who are really invested into XRP. So I thought I would do this for them. This is the chart, the solar return chart. And in my channel, I show you how to pull your solar return chart. You're going to go to AstroSeek. You're going to pull your birth chart. Then you click on the year of your last birthday and then click solar only, that tab. But for this crypto chart, there's Jupiter here. And Jupiter often represents a judge. So this looks like potentially there could be a judge shutting this down. This is the government. So it could be a group of judges because of Gemini. It could be a small courtroom, could be, I don't know what the name of this person is going to be, but we've seen this before where the judge's name was Judge, like two names, two first names, John Paul Ramirez, His Honor, whatever. But we might see that Jupiter. And so if you're going to look at your own chart and if you've got to go to court, you're going to look at Jupiter to see what the judge is all about. Now there's a big fight here with the court because they don't like what's going on. There are going to be some months where the judge is actually pretty successful because of the part of fortune that's in the XRP chart. It shows that there is something positive happening, and that could be right at the end of August. We're thinking visually, okay, XRP is going to run up, going to move at the end of the solar year, probably around May, late May. But then once we get into this first month, what is happening? We're seeing a T square activate right here. It's a shock. It's a big strike. And this strike, what is it? Well, the sixth house is a court matter. So possibility that something else comes at it. And the third house in Pisces, well, that also is ripple. So it's sort of like ripple is interrupted. This could happen this first month because of this T square starting to activate, but it could also happen again. And again, that would mean around this time could be a buying opportunity. Then we come into the second house, and that would be July 2nd. And this would be August 2nd. It's hard to tell because it's like this judge is really fighting, but it seems like this crypto is still making money. It's still pretty strong, I would say, because of that blue triangle right here. The, it could just be the flood, Neptune plus Pluto, of memes. And because of the flood of memes, that could be help maybe in the beginning part of July. That's going to it might do very, very well. But then once Aquarius activates, and that's going to be probably the last week of August, Aquarius, boom, there's the strike. So if you wanted to wait to buy it, you might wait till after this Aquarius. It's hard to say because, again, you've got a trine to Pluto here. So there's more money to be made somehow. So it really looks like back and forth and back and forth. So it seems to me that you could really buy the dips in these coming months because there are going to be some dips. The biggest dip I think is going to come around, I want to say August, as soon as Pisces starts to activate. So, so this T square is going to lighten up. It's going to kind of go away for a little bit. There's the T square. Part of fortune is like, no, it's like Uranus might have something to do with, it's just an interruption of some sort. Yeah, it could be on its way down because Neptune starts to activate as Pisces comes in. And so then you're going to see more problems here. You're going to see more headlines of somebody trying to stop it. But I got to say, this almost looks like the Teflon Don type of energy because no matter what is happening, we've got this shady government pushing it along for quite a few months. The worst month, I I would think the last few days of July, it looks like something's coming up there because Aquarius activates. It's like a boom, like, holy God. And that's what's activating that T square there. But still, positive things still flowing in, still flowing in. But it might be a good time. Late August could be a good time to buy for entertainment purposes only. And then you come into this Pisces here, and that's going to be like a 50-50 thing. I would say it's still a buying opportunity in here. Probably, let's see, Mars comes in. Oh my God. This is another potential run up here. This is when Mars activates right there. It's in the ninth house. This is going to be a month that makes serious, serious, serious news in the ninth house, the news, and Venus here. So this is like, this is the money's on fire. I mean, it's crazy. I want to say mid September, we could see another surge in the cryptocurrency. And then again, the fall actually looks pretty good until we get to Uranus again, which is going to activate that T square. November. This will be maybe around Thanksgiving. You know, it's so weird how lots of like terrible things happen in the news right around the holidays. People, foes tend to like to spring things like revenge right before Thanksgiving. So this does not surprise me at all. What do I think it is? Uh, it is definitely an interruption. I wonder if it could be there's some violence that's attached somehow. There's some kind of it looks like it could be like a this would be an example. An article comes out where maybe people who bombed something, they were using crypto in order to buy the supplies or something like that. So it looks like there's going to be some kind of bad PR here. The ninth house too. The ninth house is the reporters, the publications, and there's a lot of talk, but they are constantly talking about how this is a bad stock, at least this year, in my opinion. And with Gemini, it kind of looks like it's just gossip, and it's also they're not helping it. They actually want to take it down, and they might even be helping the average investor by keeping the stock low in certain months. So this would be September, October, November, December. December looks pretty tough. That would also potentially be a really good buying opportunity, probably in the later days of Christmas or of December. Then the moon comes in. Yikes! Still more like red lines there. If it were me, I might even wait. I might even it looks slightly better actually because the moon is sextiling the vertex in the 8th house. And so it does look like it might get a little bit of a boost there. But as of December, there is, and I shouldn't wrap them all together. This is a stellium really. Okay, let me back up here. So if this is September, October, November, if this is December 2nd, Mercury is activating. But once we get around Christmas, we're going to see Jupiter here, and there's going to be a boost to it with that trine to part of fortune. So I would say mid-December would be a great time to buy, and then boom, it could go back up again. And then it'll slowly go up. But then again, oh my God, this is a total roller coaster. And I think it's an opportunity to make money. I really do. If you're going to buy it at the right times, that's what these charts are for. But then we get into this part, and yeah, this looks like a dangerous time to actually have it because of the square to Mercury. There is something happening here. It almost looks like the government, 10th house, the government. um, might be shutting it down. So, or there's an interruption that might not happen. Hey, Elfaz. I know. I came on a couple of hours ago to add, and I don't think a lot of people saw. So glad you could join me. We're talking about XRP, which is a cryptocurrency, and kind of looking at the timing to see if you were interested in buying, then you could. I'll have an expert coming on. I'm going to time it right though. I want to have him on at the end of April. He's actually a family friend, so I trust him, and he's going to tell me he's done pretty well. He's going to tell me what he's doing and how he's doing it. But to go back though, the south node here, this looks well since yeah. Yeah, there's going to be some huge news that is not favorable. And so that is going to be coming in probably around the late winter and spring. Then once we get to, this is May, um, I would say, Venus is going to start to activate, and it's going to activate again here. So I say once we get out of the Mercury period, and let me erase some of this stuff. June. So this would be April. No, March, April. March 2nd. Yeah, I guess it could even be, it could be even be the spring here where Venus starts to activate here, and there's like a boom, the gold happens again, and really favorable things that are happening. How is that possible? It looks like it's basically DOA right here. Or nobody's talking about it. They're talking about it, or a lot of complaining. There could be a lot of complaining about, like, we're so sorry, it didn't work out, that kind of thing. Real dour types of narratives going on. And then suddenly Venus activates. And so that's going to be probably mid March. And then goes through April. So there's April 2nd. Something happens here. This is May 2nd, so it's going to be the end of April. There's going to be some news here. This could be more buying opportunity. Could be another bad actor coming in. Could be some kind of crypto scam or something that they're talking about. Some revenge too. I don't know how that's going to play out, but it's sort of like you can see the square here with Pluto in the second house, and it's like a zap. So, what I would do if I saw something like this is I would buy mid March. There's April. Let it go through April. Oh, then Pluto activates there. It's so hard to say because look at how Pluto, Jesus. I think this is like a Teflon thing. Look, Pluto and trining Uranus when Scorpio comes in. So there could be just a little bit of like an upset about the stock. And then boom, it goes back up again. This could be a buying opportunity, another buying opportunity. You might want to sell a little bit here. And that's going to be, let's see if that's May 2nd. I would probably sell around maybe April 12th because you start to get into the April 15th time frame, and then something's going to happen there. I don't know what it is. It does not look favorable, but it doesn't look unrecoverable. This actually kind of looks unrecoverable, and there's something that it loses. It could be some kind of we're going to see a lot of twins. We're going to see some twin currencies come out, and maybe some fake things that are happening. because of Pisces here, it's kind of it's part of this. So there might be a fake ripple. So you got to be careful of that. You got to be real careful of what you're buying because some people may not be able to see what they're really buying. I mean, I definitely see some scams here. All right, so now I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, it doesn't make it that much bigger, but now this is the solar return for Bitcoin, and I'm actually going to go over to another page here to show you a quick. Where did I put it? Here it is. Bitcoin's beginning began in 2009, and let me double check. You can see that. Yeah. Then 2010, Bitcoin Pizza Day, first real world transaction, breaks 100 for the first time in 2013, 2007 historic bull run, reaching nearly 20,000. So, of course, I wanted to see the 2017 solar return chart to see what looks like a successful solar return. Now, if I can get back to it, is the question. One second. Okay. So here's the bull run. I mean, this is people just got super, super rich with this one. Now, their solar return, Bitcoin solar return, starts on January 3rd. And if you add aspects, you get a little bit different kind of a chart. I mean, it doesn't look positive it's kind of like XRP a little bit. But let's go back here. Just as an example, remember the ninth house is that's the courts. It's also the headlines you're going to see that year about Bitcoin. And I also had that I wanted to show you as well. This was some of the 2017 headlines. So the chart's so spot on. Lots of talk about scams. They were hacked. Twitter accounts were hacked and Bitcoin scam. Lots of fake cryptocurrency types of headlines were happening. And I think it kept a lot of people out of the market or that market. And the people who stayed in were the ones who were making serious, serious money. So something you got to keep in mind there. What's fake, what isn't. Well, that's what was being reported. And that would be the ninth house. Okay. So 2017. So still all of this stuff was happening and they're like, you don't want to do that. That's fake. That's a scam. And it's really holding people back here. You can see Saturn and it's a square here. When you have squares to Pisces, it's going to mean scams and scandals and fake things, unfortunately. All right. Hopefully you guys can understand this, what I'm doing with the solar return. All right, so let's look at some of this. Hang on one second. Now, the moon is ruling this year for Bitcoin. That's always nice. Moon is a benefic. Moon means fame. And the moon is up here. Moon is in Pisces. That's wealth right there. And it's also in this cluster or stellium. It is also in that stellium and in this nice triangle, Pluto right there. So Pluto sextile the moon. Oh my God, it becomes super famous. And then adding part of fortune is beyond successful. I mean, this is like a dream chart, really. Of course, Pisces is dream. And we would hear a lot about people where their dreams would come true in the news when they were buying houses and Ferraris and all of these things they always wanted. So that was the main thing, I think, for Bitcoin in that 2017. Now, the second house is what you're going to make for money. And look at how, oh my God, the Lord of the second house of finance is next to the millions. I mean, this is really the symbol for millions or massive, massive. So, millions and massive, represented by Pluto being massive. And then you've got all of this Piscean. I mean, this is the ocean. This is like the ocean comes a knocking and it's filled with dollars. So it's pretty wild there. Now, with the third house is your sales. So, North Node would show that there were some serious sales. There'd be some that there would be no sales, but you've got Pluto here again. So, not just gaining, and you're going to see this in your own solar return chart. You're going to see the North Node. What are you gaining this year? Oh my God. If there's a trine to Pluto, there could be a T square like there is here with that red triangle, but you're still going to have some seriously amazing, amazing months. And let's see, the courts. Yeah, it looks like there could have been some court problems, but here, like this year for XRP, there is a really nice grand trine, which is that blue triangle. And then we get to see a kite here with part of fortune at the top. It just soars. And it always seems like you're always going to have some kind of red line through a kite. But in this case, it doesn't seem like it mattered. I'm sure there were plenty of people who probably started putting in a lot of money at this point and were disappointed because they basically bought on the high. But look at how Uranus is at the top. This is a rocket, the rocket. And you can see a trine to Saturn. Saturn rules the seventh house. So this can be clients. Third house is sales, seventh house is clients. So they're just all piling on and they're all getting on the same rocket and going way up high. So some really good things about this chart. Let's see. Yeah, and the 11th house, hopes and dreams. I like to look at the 11th house. It's important because that's your goal. And the hopes and dreams is Taurus. So Taurus is money. But if you're to look at the Bitcoin, Uranus really represents Bitcoin. It's the cryptocurrency. And you could also say that for XRP too. But since it's called Ripple, I mean, for this, you could also say Mercury because Mercury means a coin, and so there were still some really, really positive things, even though also some red lines going through there. So hopefully, I explained, what they were seeing this year or in that year, 2017, all the scams, keeping everybody away, keeping everyone scared. Saturn is scared and squaring the ninth house of reporters of the press. The press scares while everybody else gets rich. Not everybody, but yeah. So let me see. Let me go back to the 11th house for this next year is Venus, hopes and dreams. Overall, it would seem from this chart that it's telling us that XRP is going to do pretty well. So I think it's about time for some cards, wouldn't you say? Let's see what XRP is going to do this year. I'm going to buy some. You gotta be in it. You gotta learn. It's a new thing. Everybody's scared of it. And all right. So will XRP have a good year? Starting in its 2025 solar return chart. That's starting in June, from June to June. The Hanged Man reversed. So there's going to be some. It could be positive. It could be positive. There's going to be some times I think when it's not going very far. Let me get a clarifier card for the overall progress of XRP and the price. What's the price look like overall for this cryptocurrency? The world reversed. So the world is usually big. So reversed, it could be that big turns into something that reverses. So, so definitely got to be careful. Got to be careful with this one. Let me get one more clarifier card. Is XRP a good investment? Um, in general, in the next 6 months. King of Wands. We're getting some bad cards here. King of Wands reversed. And a clarifier card for that. I mean, normally we want King of Wands. Can we ask why? Why does XRP look like it's too volatile? Maybe it looks like it's too risky. Why? Judgment reversed. Okay. Yeah. So, judgment reversed. Let me get a bigger card here. I'm going to do some astrology cards. Judgment reversed. People are getting away with something, I think, and it's not going to be us. And a final card for XRP, the cryptocurrency, for the next 6 months. Venus reversed. Okay, so love, money, and one more. Lunar eclipse. Okay. So I'm going to look at it as buying opportunities. But you can look at it any way you want, that it could be too risky. So I hope this was insightful. We'll have to take a look in the next month, see how it's going. Maybe we should we pick, let's do this one. Should we pick another cryptocurrency to track? Oh, geez. Well, it looks like things are transforming right now. But that could still be a yes card, right? How about a clarifier card for should we pick another cryptocurrency? The Magician. So yeah, I think there are some opportunities. So we're going to continue tracking and reviewing some of these charts. Thanks for joining me today. And I hope to see you tomorrow. I'll be on with Amber, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT. And we'll have more charts and cards for you. Talk to you then.